Hi guys, we are now joined by Daniel Hemric, driver of the number 21 South Point Hotel and Casino Chevrolet. So Daniel, you're from nearby Kannapolis, North Carolina. Can you kind of share some memories that you have here at Charlotte Motor Speedway and what it means to you to race here?
Yeah, honestly, some of my fondest racing moments, period, started here at Charlotte. Other than the new dirt track, I call it new. I raced at the old one, go-karts from the time I was 7, 8 years old, to the 5th mile out back, to the quarter mile here inside the big track, and did all that stuff in hopes of having an opportunity to run on the mile and a half here at Charlotte one day. And myself and Bubba Wallace were playing golf earlier, and he was talking about qualifying tonight. I said, man, I forgot about it was qualifying night. We both kind of reminisced a little bit about how we used to come as kids, sitting in the grandstands and watch pole night. And when we were Bandolero and Legend Car racing, we would race the quarter mile in front of all the guys. This was our big night every year, was racing on pole night, and then going up in the stands and watching pole night. So, like I said, just a lot of fond memories here, and being close to this place is very special, and it's always fun when we get to come back.
Great. I'm going to open the floor for questions. Going to right here to Jacob.
Jacob Seelman, Speed Sport, and thank you for going exactly where I was hoping you were going to go. You mentioned, Daniel, starting your career on the front stretch. Obviously, this is in no way comparative to that per se, but is there anything you learned from your time in Legends Cars that you can bring up to here? And what does it mean to you to have been a part of it for as long as you were, with this summer going to be the 25th anniversary?
Yeah, it's pretty special. Somebody reminded me the other day that this year is the 25th anniversary of the summer shootout, and that's very special because I was a part of it in some way, shape, or form for about probably time I was 10 years old up until 2 years ago. I ran a race in some form or fashion, and just gained experience every summer out here racing and get some of the best. And as time goes, and as you see younger generation of drivers continue to come to this level and instantly compete at a very high level, a lot of that is attested to those Bandoleros and Legend Car ranks and doing it here in Charlotte. If you want to race those style of cars, you would come here on every Monday and Tuesday and try to put your name on the map. And fortunately, between the road of Legend Cars to Bruton Smith holding the Legends Million event here, myself being able to win that, all that stuff, it just gave myself experience from not only a racetrack standpoint, but from the media side. A race of that magnitude, the Legends Million, gives you an opportunity to do stuff just like this, and that's be in front of people and speak to the media and do all the things that you have to be able to do at this level to be successful. And it's really cool to see even the next generation of kids coming in that are coming right out of Legend Cars and are fast. Obviously, William Byron's probably the most recent one. William actually, I can remember trying to teach him little things of basic racing knowledge here racing at the summer shootout, and him to go on and drive for me for a couple late-mile races, and look at him now. He's a superstar in our sport and going to continue to be. So that's really cool to see the progress and how there is a direct avenue for kids coming up.
Kick it right here to Woody.
So Woody came with MRN. Daniel, after seeing what we saw with the Cup cars in the Xfinity or the Cup Series with the package you guys ran at Indy last year, and having a chance to do that, what are your expectations for it at Pocono now that they only had an hour of practice and you guys have had a year to think about it essentially? What are you expecting to see from that at Pocono?
I think you're going to see a lot of the same thing you saw, and that was a lot of exciting, close racing, and the speeds are low enough that you can actually do that, and that's race really hard. And obviously have a lot of teammates competing in the All-Star race last week with the package that is very similar to what we'll have in the next coming weeks in the Xfinity Series. And just from our knowledge that we gained off of it last year, it's just a racy package, and that's why it's implemented to more races for us this year. And I'll be shocked if you don't see it be implemented more, down the road in the Cup side of things, because I'm telling you, I keep going back to this question, and I've answered it this way all week, was, what's too fast? As a racer, you never think you're going too fast. But on the other side of that, we talk about how mile and a half racing turns into one lane, guys being out by 8, 10 seconds or even more, and a big contributor to that is the speed. You start going so fast, and you're on the edge of out of control, and everybody's doing all they can do, and that makes it hard to race. And I think what you saw in the All-Star race was guys felt they had that comfortability to drive down the corner wide open, side by side. I don't think everybody wants to be wide open everywhere we go, by no means, and there's obviously always room for improvement as far as the package goes, but I thought it was a huge step in the right direction, and I'm looking forward to it being I think it's our next 2 races in the Xfinity Series, and seeing how what the trend continues to be on that side of it, because I think it's going to help the sport and help the viewers and everybody that we're here to put a show on for.
I'm going to go to Deb and then Lee.
Daniel. Deb Williams racing today in ESPNW. You've worked on your own cars for a long time, summer shootout on up. As you have progressed, gotten into the upper levels, you've made your Cup debut now. Do you find your input is just as much as at the lower levels, or has it decreased because of the engineering and simulations? How does it stack up?
You know, for me, you know, when I started making my first couple of starts in any 3 NASCAR, you know, top series, testing was obviously going the other direction. It was limited. So it almost made me feel like my input was almost even more of an addition to a race team because, you know, it's always usable information, I feel like. It's a matter of which avenue and which path you want to go down with it. But in a day where we don't have testing, you got to have somebody, you know, not only myself, but all of our teammates, you got to have the ability to really diagnose what you need and which direction you want to send your guys. Because as we go to these racetracks and we get 2 55-minute practices, majority of the places we go, especially in the Xfinity Series, you don't have much time to do a whole lot of anything. So your input and the way I've had to go about it to get to this level, I feel like it's helped me kind of thrive for as much as I can in those short practices and get our race cars and get our race team going in the right direction. Obviously, I think at times it can be a little overwhelming to a crew chief or a race team as a whole if you've done it the way I've had to do it, because you got to know when to implement those words and when not to. Sometimes it's easy to get kind of just over your head and tell too much, and then that creates them to go down different paths. So just trying to find the balance of when and when not to voice what's going on and do it productively.
Lee Spencer, RacingBoys.com. Do you have any of that $1 million left?
You know, it was $1 million purse, $250,000 to win.
Okay.
You know, I had so many people support me that night that that money got divvied out to a lot of different people and partners. Heck, the guy I was driving for, he got a cut. I got my cut. Another guy owned the engine that was in my car. He got some money. And guess what we did the next week? We went and raced. So that's where the rest of it went.
And Austin Dillon was talking the other day about there aren't a lot of drivers from North Carolina. So coming into this race, what kind of pride would there be in winning at the home track?
Yeah, that's something I try not to even let myself think about, because it is an exceptional amount of pride that I find in Austin and Ty and the few North Carolina guys that are still left at this level doing it the way we are. And it is. I mean, we're coming here to home. I feel like driver intros, you feel it. You can feel the electricity in the air and the support of a hometown crowd. And that's something makes you want to step up. It makes you want to go to the next level and compete and do it for the guys that support you. And heck, I'll have probably 60 to 100 family members, friends, just in the grandstands coming to hang out and watch a good race tomorrow and Sunday. So it's something that I find, I don't know, it's just so exhilarating to know that I've been able to get to this point and do it here in my hometown, race at all different racetracks on this complex, and get to do it on the big show.
Go ahead, Mike.
Mike Neff from FrontStretch.com. Daniel, this is a totally off-the-wall weird question for you, but
No, never.
having started out here in the Legends cars on a quarter mile, you actually raced in the rain. I know we can't do it on some of the bigger ovals, but would you envision it being possible to run rain tires at, say, Martinsville or Loudon, something like that?
Honestly, you know, first off, you're right. Some of the most crazy, outlandish races I can remember were legend car races in the rain here and a couple other short tracks in the area with those scale of cars. And I've never really let myself go down that path and even think about that. Obviously, as you go up the ranks and the speeds become so much higher, it's harder and harder to see that as a possibility. But then you see a package like what the Cup cars had last week and how much that impacted the speeds. Well, it kind of allows you to be like, hey, maybe it is possible. So I know on the Xfinity side, we do it in the road courses, and fortunately, I wish there was some wood up here. I haven't had to do it yet because I'm not sure what kind of fool I'd make out of myself. But it'd definitely be exciting to see NASCAR and everybody try to go down that path.
I'm going to kick it back there to Caleb.
Caleb Whistler, kicking the tires.net. It seems like RCR's kind of been there at the front of the field in the Xfinity Series this season, but you guys can't seem to close the deal either with bad luck or something happening on the racetrack. What do you feel like you guys need to propel yourself to a victory?
We just got to have exactly what you talked about. It's everything go our way. It's so many variables go into every single day, every single weekend at a racetrack. Everything's got to go right in order to put yourself in position. I will say, though, that you know, last year we needed more things to go right to give us a shot to even contend, where this year the speed has allowed us to have more room and more leniency on how we call our races and how how many things need to go our way to give us a shot, and that's something to be proud of. I feel like our Xfinity team and with ECR, everybody that supports us back at RCR, we've done so many things to take steps and strides in the right direction this year that we're giving ourselves that shot. And time in and time out, if you do that, it'll always show that it will work out and it will pay off. So I'm thankful to be on the upside of things at RCR, and hopefully we can keep it going and do just what you talked about, and that's hopefully getting the victory lane soon.
Do you have any final questions? All right, thanks, Daniel, and good luck this weekend.